Great. So, welcome everyone, Ji. Thank you very much for coming. Assalamu alaikum, and I hope that everyone is having a good time enjoying Ramadan and staying with family and having fun with them. This is one of those Ramadans where I have been, spending all my time with the family, and I've been, kind of. I feel that COVID has brought that blessing in us, where we are. I'm not saying in a negative way, but where we have been able to bond with the family a lot, and also um, been able to concentrate not only on work but also on those rituals, the religious rituals that we have. Today, Ji, we have with us Zuhair Khalik Saab and Salim Gauri Saab. दोनों जो है माशाल्लाह से introduction की इनको ज़रूरत नहीं है, but very quickly, Salim Saab is the founder and CEO of NetSol Technologies and is based out from Lahore. And Zuhair Saab जो है is the founding member of Team Up and again has been heading multiple companies prior to this in Pakistan. Mobilink being one of the biggest ones. So welcome, gentlemen. Welcome to this short chit chat. It's a fireside chat, and as discussed, we've had. Let me just give a quick recap of what we have been talking about previously. In Pakistan, we thought that it's a good idea to talk about the challenges that have come as a result of COVID, and then talk about the reason why those challenges exist. COVID is a trigger that has kind of exposed us as a industry, and so Mujeeb and I had a chat last time, और उसके अंदर हमने different चीज़ों को discuss किया, और उसमें जो हम जिस conclusion पे पहुंचे, पहले तो हमने discuss किया पाशा की जो survey थी, और स्मीडा ने जो सर्वे किया था उसकी बेसिस के ऊपर we came to realize that layoffs are one of the biggest challenges that the industry is facing. Businesses from the West is again one of those areas which is the biggest challenge. We're seeing a lot of decline in those business revenues. Similarly, infrastructure in terms of work from home, उसके लिए क्या तैयारी है, VPN connectivities नहीं है हमारे पास, घरों में लोगों को enable नहीं किया हुआ हमने work from home के perspective से. So those are the challenges that we talked about. And then, Assalamu alaikum Mujeeb.
Assalamu alaikum जी.
Welcome जी. मैं थोड़ा सा recap बता रहा था, तो आप kindly jump in and add. So and then we talked about the challenges. के बाद हमने बात की reasons for those challenges. What are the underlying root cause behind it? Because normally we tend to look outside. जी सरकार ने ये काम नहीं किया, industry ने ये काम नहीं किया, अल्लाह ने मेरा साथ नहीं दिया. अपनी जगह पे हर चीज है. But we need to see where is our area of influence, where we can control whatever we can control and prepare for these kind of disasters. तो उसमें जब हमारी discussion हुई तो पता चला कि one was business continuity planning. Organizations do business continuity planning at a very extensive level. और वो तैयार रहती हैं, और हमने case study के तौर के ऊपर S&P Global का भी discuss किया, how they have done it, how we as TeraData have done it, and how other big companies are doing it, so that sustainability becomes a key element within our business that we operate in. Second thing was work from home infrastructure in terms of VPN connectivities, in terms of the connectivity itself, internet connections लोगों के घरों में, laptop enablement, security, इन सब चीजों को मद्देनजर रखना. So that element is one of the reasons where we were not able to operate that well, and we had to lose a lot of business. The third thing was diversification of our revenue streams, where we thought that too much dependency on either one country, one company, one customer, one revenue area, one function, one is one of the reasons where we were not able.
Please.
Sorry. So those were the three key areas that we thought where we as an companies and as an industry need to were lacking in terms of readiness. And then lastly, one thing which is from a government perspective, the enablement infrastructure where they can take care of industries like a technology industry, which is the second largest contributor after your textile towards your foreign revenue. So वो जरा missing. तो आज की जो discussion है हमारी, anything you want to add, Mujeeb, to it?
No, I think you covered it really well. Haroon, just one thing that I wanted to just latch on to the diversity part that you mentioned. I think another facet of the same thing that we discussed was the agility in our organizations, especially in technology, to pivot from doing one thing to another.
Yes.
As the times change and as the requirement from them becomes that they do something different, they change their have the agility to change their business or business model very quickly. So that's something that we touched upon briefly as well.
I think ये और इसकी बड़ी जबरदस्त examples हैं. Ford ने जिस तरह से अपने आप को switch किया towards making ventilators from being a car manufacturing company. So that's the agility part that we also talked about last time. So जी इस दफा Mujeeb, welcome. We have now Mujeeb, Salim, and Zahur साहब, तीनों माशाल्लाह से representing great companies, great institutions, and so we'll talk about what is there from an opportunity perspective. COVID तो हो गया, ये तो अब रहेगा हमारे साथ. अभी मैं सलीम साहब से बात कर रहा था, and he was also saying कि this is going to be, ये कोई 2, 4, 6 महीने की गेम नहीं है. This is going to be a 12, 18 months, 24 months out there. So what opportunities do we have? So that's the question now we need to talk about. कि ये COVID हो गया, रहेगा, हमारे पास क्या opportunity, हमें क्या करना चाहिए? So, Zahur Saab, let's start from you.
Thank you, Haroon. I think the biggest opportunity we have is to change our mindsets. As Salim remarked here earlier, this is not going to go away. People are talking about like a W curve, so it will go down and then it'll shoot back up and go down again. And so we have to completely change our mindsets. We have to completely change the way we work. A lot of it is already been mentioned before. We need to be able to adapt to technology faster, quicker, in as many ways as we can. People are talking about not only work from home, but cook from home, exercise from home, everything from home.
True.
Get yourself a very, very comfortable chair as well as getting yourself the right technology, because that seems to be life going forward. But also, as you mentioned, I think the opportunity to pivot as quickly as we can to look at some of these things. One of the opportunities I see is that especially with software export market from Pakistan, for example, we see a lot of the Western world eyeing China with a lot of suspicion. Rightly or wrongly, they seem to believe that this is all part of some sort of conspiracy coming from there, and therefore there's a defensive attitude. And therefore trying to relocate businesses, offshore businesses from China to other parts of the world. And I think Pakistan can offer a lot in that respect. We have an amazing pool of talent in terms of technology people who can easily adapt, change, and pivot to some of the new opportunities coming through. So I think that could be one of the quick ones that we can go for. I'm sure Salim can elaborate on this more. That's particularly his area of interest. Also, I think we should look at our own market. We are, I was just reading somewhere that EasyPesa, Eleanor Microfinance Bank, for example, has seen a 37% jump in new activations on EasyPesa. They've seen a 17% rise in their transactions over this period. So clearly, people who've been trying to, let's say, be reticent about adopting technology are suddenly realizing that is the way to go. So digitization will become a very big thing in Pakistan very quickly, something I've been evangelizing for most of my life, 30 odd years, especially in the last 3 or 4 years. But I think it's going to happen, inshallah. And we need to embrace it. We need to look at this and move forward very quickly, adapting our businesses. So I talk about good costs and bad costs here. So when you look at your business, cut away the bad costs. The bad costs are, fancy offices, too many people that you might be hiring. I know that sounds a bit mercenary, but that is what a business does. Cutting away all unnecessary costs, even advertising costs can now go online as more and more people become digital. And the good cost is to invest more in your digital technologies, into training people in that respect, moving your business towards digital and digital technology, so that we are able to capitalize on a wave that I think is coming very much so. And let's never underestimate, Pakistan. 30 years ago, when mobile phones, for example, were introduced to Pakistan, people said, well, nobody's going to really pay attention. It's a luxury item, et cetera, et cetera. And, 30 years later, we are 165 million people who have a mobile phone. That's twice the size of the United Kingdom in terms of population. It's 3 times the size of Germany and France. We have something like 120 million people who are adopting, internet and smartphones. So there is the opportunity to move your businesses from the traditional to more digitalized platforms. I think is the golden opportunity here. I'm sure it's been said before, but I will say it again. And that's where we need to focus at this point.
I think a very valid point, Zahur. Digitization was a journey people thought they may ride on, but now it has become inevitable for every business. Even the Kiryani store out in my locality is now talking about, placing orders and doing deliveries. So it's a very crude form of digitization, but at least they're moving one step forward. So I think
it'll move very quickly in that direction.
Yeah, the pace of digitization will be phenomenal, and I think organizations, they are going to play a very critical role in terms of enabling and bringing in those solutions at mass to the public. So I think that's where opportunity also exists for our young entrepreneurs to come forward, to try out their ideas and to start scaling them up for the general public. Salim Saab, आप किस तरह देखते हैं? How do you look at you're operating? It's a very interesting thing about Salim Saab and NetSol is they're not operating in one region of the world where everybody else is operating in. I mean, they must be operating in the West, but they have a lot of business in the East as well. So how do you see your company and the opportunities coming up as a result of this COVID?
I wish, Haroon, we can close our eyes and go back to October 2019. It's simple. Everything was working well, but not to be. The fact is, what you have to start with acceptance. And what is that? This is it. This is it, and this is the way it will be. So once you accept that, it's become easier to look towards the future of what lies ahead. And just let me take you back. We are a bit lucky, but this is not the first time we are seeing it. In 2002, we were very well established, a company in USA and different places, and we had good revenue coming from multiple services contract. We had a very good lucrative contract with a very high margin. And suddenly, a dot-com crash, everything just stopped. All our contracts were cancelled within overnight. We were told to take our people out from Madrid, from London, from San Francisco. Just take them back. We don't need them. We're just cancelling all our work. That happened overnight. From a high revenue, came back, was nothing at all to show as a revenue. And I was maintaining about 180 people. This is 2002. The only reason we survived, Haroon, was that we had one contract with a multinational for a product we were developing. Now that they couldn't cancel because that was a core, a mission critical application for the president. So they have no choice but to continue with that. That one lesson learned, that service revenue is not reliable. It can be taken away from you anytime because anybody else can take away your service and they can provide a better service. But if you have a product placed in a place that is not easy to replace. It's a cycle. Whenever we replace a product in a customer, it takes 3 to 4 years. It's a monster of application we sell. It's a financial. It's a lease and finance system, which takes about 3 years to replace. And every time we get a contract, it's a 3-year cycle. It takes a year to migrate because we're talking about millions of contractors, to huge portfolios. So that was lesson one, that if you are in a product business, you will still survive compared to if you are maintaining services. So big lesson in a very early stage of Nexo's life. You got that. 2008, again, we saw suddenly a financial market crash where we sell a financial application. And our customers are financial institutions which lend money, and suddenly everything stopped. But again, we had customers using our application, and they had no choice but to pay us maintenance. Though we didn't get new business for a long period, we survived. That was a second lesson in life, and harsh lesson, very tough lesson. By then, we were quite larger company, about 600 people at that time to maintain, and revenue going down, you have to maintain. This was not planned. This was not in any books. All those lessons were noted, and we said, all right, this cash happened, we'll do that. Market cash will do that. Financial institutions stop, we do that. But COVID-19 was in nobody's plan. You talk about BCP. Well, we had BCP written many times. All our stakeholders will always ask, even our customers will ask to show them our BCP because something could happen to campus facility. So how would we make sure we can continue our support? So we written some very nice documents, but I had no clue how it will work out. I had no clue. And today I tell you what, we did not lose a single hour of work in last 3 months. We're able to put everybody. In fact, we locked down much before federal government lockdown. We just moved. We realized this is very dangerous to keep people in office. So we told everybody to go home and let's start working from home. And thanks to Zahur's Mobilink Day, we had a very good support from Jazz Today and other companies. And very quickly, we were able to build up our ability to make sure all our 1,500 people are able to continue to work and not a single hour lost. I think that is important for companies to realize. It is your standards, SOPs, which will help you. You need to make sure, and because nobody will predict when COVID-20 or 21 will arrive or something like that will happen to you. So you always have to have your SOPs ready with you. Otherwise, you will just be lost. Now, I'll tell you a very interesting thing. We were in multiple implementations. We had 5 implementations going on around the world and some of the very major customers. And just 4 days back, we went live in Malaysia and Hong Kong. From home, they were locked down, we were locked down, they were working home, we were working home, we went live. Major customer gone live with a huge portfolio. And I got a comment from this German guy, this is amazing, history is being made. We have gone live in a major system transfer and system, new system, take over old system, and we are live. Now, all that was possible because Nexus had built some very strong standards to work from. So these are very important messages to people who are listening that there's no accidents. Haroon, you have to work on it. This is not a fluke. The fact we went Malaysia live, it was all worked well. We worked as a team together. So let me come back now. Now, I've shared what we have faced. Look, every event where it is a disaster, there's always opportunities. That is always the case. Give you an example of flood. When the floods come in, it destroys everything. It destroys the land, property, crop. But when water recedes, what happened? The soil is rich. Soil is rich, and soil is ready for the next. And this is exactly what COVID-19 is giving us. It's enriching the soil. It is changing the way we work. The old ways are gone. Ubers and creams will be past days. I will not share a car anymore. I will not ride in an Uber. I'm sorry, if they're listening to me, I'll not. I will not take a ride. Either I would walk or take a motorbike, but I will not ride. So what's new then? So there will be no opportunities. That's what we have to look for. So we all have to now look at what's going to happen next. Now, what will happen next to me? Very simple. The companies who did not automate, they didn't care. They said, oh, we have the people, we can work. Well, we don't have people anymore because people are at home. That is going to create opportunity. Every business now have to revisit what they were doing and what human interaction they had in the past. Now what they have to look for, how little human interaction we can, do our business with. I think that's going to be a lot of work. It's just like a Y2K. Now you guys are young. Zahur is younger than me anyway. Y2K, who remember that? Y2K this is going to be Y2K. Everybody has to go, like Zoe said, the right digitalization. Everybody has to go and make sure their business is now able to function without people. Now that's a lot of work, great opportunities. One problem I can foresee, travel. Now new businesses how they will get the new business, I think that's a challenge. When I was, when the restaurant was young, I was able to travel. So I was able to go to customer and get business. Now you have to create new ways of marketing and selling, and somehow you have the opportunity to sell online. Today, in last 3 days, we're doing more demos online, which we used to do on ground. But we have already arranged ourselves where we are doing some major presentations and system demonstration online. We cannot travel. So Pakistan will have a challenge. I think, and Pakistan will have a problem also because I think we will not be able to control COVID-19 for a long time, and countries may not welcome us because we may not be able to show up. I hope I'm wrong. So let's be prepared. Travel. So all of us have to be mindset that all our selling and marketing will be done from Pakistan. Stop complaining. Stop crying like a child. Oh, मेरे साथ ज़्यादती हो गई, मेरी किस्मत खराब है जो आपने कहा. ये कोई नहीं. You don't be a child in the business. You're in the wrong business. You start crying and saying मेरी किस्मत खराब हो गई. You have to accept and be smart and just go after. Oh yeah, opportunities, sir. Lot more opportunities will come up. This is just Y2K. A lot more work will be needed.
Very, very important point that you made, and the fact that less people to be used for our businesses and more automation, more जिसको आजकल बड़ा terminology इस्तेमाल होती है, RPAs, robotic process automations, and AI-based systems that will, make sure that we have minimum people interaction. Now, many people think that this is a threat for individuals because the dependency from people will go away and it will be more on systems and robots. ये हम जब से टेक्नोलॉजी आई इस दुनिया के अंदर, जब से इनोवेशन इस दुनिया के अंदर आई है, the first industrial revolution, the second industrial revolution, हर दफा यही आता था कि लोगों के साथ क्या होगा. लोगों के साथ कुछ नहीं होता, लोगों ने अपने आप को रीस्किल करना होता. And I think that's one of the key elements that we all opportunity. COVID is an opportunity in the sense might be that if are not
evolving as a result of this new contactless environment that or contact minimized environment that we might start in. That you where we'll the question
in the end, it's all about people. Use and dependency on technology is what will change the world in the future. Because at the end of it, जैसे आपने हारून कहा कि ये हम सुनते आ रहे हैं पिछले 50 का तो लोग irrelevant हो जाएंगे, etc. Always true. And I think unity here is, as you said, reskill yourself very quickly. You have all the time in the world, as you said. And I think that, think about it, 3 months ago, 2 months ago, how many of us were using Zoom on a daily basis? I'm on Zoom now 5, 6, 7 hours a day. And that's life to go forward with. Again, I'll come back to what are the opportunities specifically. Look, everything at the moment, it's the fintech sector, it's the entertainment sector, for example. It's about e-commerce. I mean, as we mentioned earlier, even the smallest stores are now thinking about how they can deliver to the home. That's a huge, I think, opportunity for a lot of companies to focus on, how to come up with low-cost solutions where people can actually adopt that technology and still reach people at home and deliver them the right services and the products. I think that's important. I think it's important to realize that, as we said earlier, entertainment. People are starved for entertainment at this point in time, because how many people have access to Netflix, for example? How many people have access to iTunes? Not everybody, but there are opportunities for more affordable, slightly cheaper ways of providing entertainment at home. As I said earlier, connectivity is there. When I look outside, even my chowkidar has a smartphone and he's able to watch a video or YouTube or whatever else he can on it. So we have one of the cheapest data rates in the world. So let's look at that as an opportunity to come up with new solutions for people, whether it's in entertainment, in exercise, work from home. A lot of people are a little lost about how they work from home. We've not inculcated that particular skill set until now. So there's an opportunity for companies to come in and provide those solutions, not only on the technology front, but also on the, let's say, the behavior and educational part of it. Coming to education itself, I mean, so many of our friends' children, for example, much younger than me, their kids are working from home right now, studying from home. So there's a whole area where online education can become a business case very, very quickly. People will be willing to participate in the same way that they were in sending their children to school earlier. So you start thinking about it, almost anything that we've done previously in a physical sense can actually be translated onto a technology platform. But never forget that at the end of the day, we are talking about people, people's needs, people's wants, people's requirements, and how we can service them in the best way using all kinds of new technology platforms.
Very, very pertinent points, Zahur Saab, and very, very well said that people drive are at the center of the need that gets risen, as well as how you will service those needs using technology, using other tools around us. Salim Saab, if you want to quickly comment around opportunities and what you see in different industries leveraging technology.
Voice activation. I would like to see more voice activated lift, because see, as I said, it's going to be a different world. And I'm so afraid, scared to touch a button. So just give you an example.
Yeah.
Voice activation. We activate everything we do. It's at the moment, it's not that well done. That's one I will invest in my company. Second, still we're doing Zoom here. We need more applications. We need more, applications so we can do, work from home. So there's a lot of work to be done. अगर आप पीछे जाइए तो Google से पहले Yahoo search थी. So we thought, oh, this is the world, but Google came in a better search. So I believe there's a lot more work can be done in, this kind of meeting apps. They are still very young in the way we are doing it. I believe this is a great opportunity for people to invest in that. It's a huge world out there, and there is so much demand in meetings applications. Yeah. So for me as a fan, these are two areas which I believe young people should very focus on voice. Now, third is what I do. I have to revisit that. How can I make my software more now, ability to do work from away? We have a huge application. It was always, you have to hundreds of people work from office. Well, we're going to make changes now. We want to make change where it can be, all transactions can be done from home. So we're going to do that on our application. Same goes to others. Whatever they're doing, they must revisit whatever they sell. What can we do to give them edge where it can be done digitally from home and more with ACE compared to when it was before COVID-19. So everybody must look into what they sell and what they do and try to find more before somebody else take away their business. Somebody will take away our business if we do not very quickly revisit what we're selling and make it easier to work from away from office and from the cloud and other places.
Thank you, sir. And I think as both Zohair Saab and Salim Saab mentioned, understanding the needs of people in this new environment and adapting and developing solutions, whether that requires reinventing, reorganizing, re-nudging yourself as a business, I think is one of the most important opportunities that this new normal world is going to present to us. I know we're going to have to wrap up soon and especially thank our panelists. But before we bid farewell to Salim Saab and Zohair Saab, I wanted to take the opportunity to ask them. Zohair Saab is also on the Prime Minister's Task Force on Technology. Salim Saab has been involved in this business, since it ever started in Pakistan, and has been a key, player in terms of guiding the policy level from the government in the industry. If I may ask you, you both, maybe Salim Saab, you wanna go first at it this time. A couple of things that you feel the government can do, because बहुत दफा ना ये सवाल हम मिले पिछले दिनों मिनिस्टर ऑफ आईटी से, पाशा के प्लेटफॉर्म से, आप बताएं जी आप क्या चाहते हैं, हम आपको सपोर्ट करेंगे. सब कहते तो ये हैं, Zohair Saab, I actually is smiling, but a couple of things that you feel in this environment the government can do, that we as an industry can push for, can lobby for, that you feel will be helpful.
But first of all, I am glad that we are lucky that they were hands off. Seriously, they were hands off. That's great, and it did not prepare and did not try to tell us and maneuver us and put us. That helped us to, be smart and build ourselves. And I love, like, a lot of people get credit for that. They have built tremendous, companies who represent Pakistan very well around the world. So that's one. But whenever I meet at that level, I'm just saying, first of all, yeah, they must recognize IT as an industry. They are not doing that. They're still, one more task force I'm working on, and I'm just trying to keep insisting to come out from what's sake, recognize IT as an industry, because this will get bigger. They have no idea what's going to happen now. It's going to explode, inshallah. I'm very positive IT will really be a beneficiary of this COVID-19. Pakistan IT will benefit. So they must get their act together, and they start talking about IT in terms of a bigger industry. They keep telling us we are nothing. They keep comparing us with others. That is not good for them. So just accept it's a good industry, it's a big industry, and the numbers are not real. The numbers are much larger, because I do my homework. I'm surprised. A young boy from Bhalpur selling about 60, 70,000 pounds of websites every year, and this is generating so much money. They have no idea. I know, because I interact at a very low level with people.
Yeah.
So two things they must do, industry, and then start talking in terms of make it look like big. जब आप बड़ा कहेंगे तो बड़ी नजर आएगी. बड़ी नजर आएगी, you can sell better. Because trust me, it's all about perception. Make it sound big. India ने पता है क्या किया? 30 साल से पहले किया कि हम ये हो गए. They were not there. Today they are there, but they made it sound big. So please डालो इनको बार-बार. मैं भी डाल रहा हूँ, मैं भी लिख रहा हूँ report कि यार talk about in terms of a healthy industry, big industry, and then make it sound big. I believe we'll do very, very well. That's my message.
Thank you very much. Zohair Saab, if you want to quickly comment, please, from your vantage point.
Right. So, I completely agree that the IT needs to be recognized as an industry which hasn't been for a long time, and I think that's something should be top of the list. But more specifically, होगा इस वक्त क्या हो रहा है कि I was talking to one of my colleagues on the task force, and internet usage in the first 2 months has gone up by 35%. And most of it is either on, carriers like Nailtel or Cybernet or whatever, but also on Jazz and Telenor and Zong and so on. One of the things that I think which can substantially be done at this stage by the government, which is a very concrete step, is to allocate new spectrum to these companies, at least in the short term, without any real cost, because it is serving the nation, connecting. The connectivity is growing and the demand is growing. The pipe has to be bigger because of data being more adopted more quickly than it was in the past. So you need to have additional spectrum availability very, very quickly. The government is sitting on a lot of spectrum. All it needs to do is to say, hey guys, you can have this for the next, let's say, 12 months and use it, deploy it. So we'll talk about, revenues later on. That's one thing. The second thing is stop treating phones and smartphones as a way of earning tax dollars, because again, it is not a luxury, it is a simple necessity of life. So mobile phones the tax needs to be removed from there. In a way, similarly for laptops and tablets and so on, because all of this, if it is cheaper and it is easily available and less hassle to import, people will deploy it quicker, they will utilize it in stores, in shops, in schools, in colleges, in universities, and that's where we need to be going. This is I used to work for the GSM Association at one time, and we said that connectivity today is a human necessity, just like water and food and whatever else, and shelter. So connectivity today is a necessity, it is not a luxury, and I think that's the message that needs to go across to the government. We certainly within the task force are obviously pushing those messages through, but I think any forum, any other ways to put it through would be equally valuable and equally useful at this time.
Yeah. No, thank you very much. Sorry, Haroon, you want to add something?
No. Continue.
No, I was just going to say, I completely agreed with both of what you mentioned. One other area that we've focused on as PASHA and through Syed Ahmed, who's also on the task force, really tried to push the government, met with the Minister for Commerce about it as well. It's sort of a Make in Pakistan initiative, because in a lot of countries in the region as well as around the world, what we see is the government is one of the biggest procurers of technology services, right?
Yeah.
And we don't see that in Pakistan. So how the government can influence that is something that we've tried to necessitate at the policy level. They ensure that a certain segment of government contracts, a certain are given to local companies, technology companies, and otherwise as well. But technology companies primarily, so that these our small and medium enterprises as well as large ones can get that experience that they can use to get international contracts as well.
Yeah, totally agree.
Sorry, Salim Saab, you want to say something?
Yeah. I will go one step ahead. Not certain. I want major portion to Pakistani company. I had a big argument in one of the meetings in Islamabad before. I saw a list of foreign people coming in at the top and Pakistani companies at the bottom. I said, not acceptable. We can do, Pakistani companies are quite capable of handling mission critical development. So don't tell me we cannot do so. This is not acceptable, not certain. I will go for a major portion to be done. Will be done Pakistan, developed by Pakistan. Those days are gone that you will be called our industry. See, this is what I meant. When you call up our industry, this is all you do. Because you think, oh, we can't do that. We have to change the perception. Sorry, I cut you. I'm sorry, Mujeeb.
No, sir, not at all. Thank you for that input. You're 100% agreed with you. That's what we're saying is, अगर आप एक ऐसा प्रोजेक्ट करना चाहते हैं जिसकी कैपेबिलिटी पाकिस्तानी कंपनी के पास मौजूद है, तो आपको you have to give them preferential treatment. We're not saying compromise on standards. We're not saying compromise on any deliverables. We're not saying, but there are just fundamental. We can do a separate panel discussion on the government policies.
इसमें थोड़ा सा मेरा personal एक opinion ये है, and I'm sure Zuhair and Salim Saab they can add up to it, is these government regulations that have come in, for example, so taxes की बात की कि devices जो हैं, smartphones हैं, इनके ऊपर taxes जो हैं, they are, killing the way, the affordability of individuals to buy these. They're no longer luxury. But isn't it the fact that, when you put up these kind of taxes, you're actually promoting made in Pakistan, so that there are companies that should come in Pakistan, people that should come in Pakistan and start making these devices in Pakistan. So isn't that one way of promoting made in Pakistan? Or am I just being too optimistic of the government thinking that way?
This discussion has been taking place since 2003 when I came back and was part of Mobilink, and the whole customer base started expanding at that time. We need a lot of different legal and ethical issues to be resolved for a company to come and set up a factory to manufacture phones in Pakistan. And it's a long journey, and I think we are not yet there, we're not ready. But in the short term, what you do need to do is to enable people anyway. And the only way you can do that is by reducing taxes. The only way you can encourage companies in the process, for example, one of the biggest issues has been haunting us for years, is the availability of regular power from the grid. It's only recently that we've had some improvement in that, and I always cross my fingers when I say that, because you never know when it will go back to square one again. But that's a major issue. Security, for example, is a major issue when somebody is going to put probably $1 billion+ on the ground to put something in place to manufacture phones, smartphones, laptops, and so on. So all those infrastructural and legal issues still need resolution. I think there is, unfortunately, a lot of focus on that at this point in time. There is a lot of propaganda, there's a lot of talk, but I don't think there's actual move to actually address some of those issues. I don't think anybody's really, sat down and talked about it much. So in the short term, I think the solution is to enable people and enable companies to continue to supply good quality connectivity to the people in Pakistan. Remember, there's 225 million people. There's a lot of people in Pakistan, mashallah.
Yeah.
And we need to address that in the short term.
Great.
Completely agreed. I think with that, we Haroon, you want to take maybe a question from there's a couple of questions that I see. There's a question around IT infrastructure. Zahur Saab, I think you touched upon it a little bit with the spectrum. Some other components. There was a comment earlier in the chat window about you talked about the low cost of data on the domestic front. But on the corporate front, one of our cost of bandwidth is still very high when we compare with the region. Is there anything, again, Salim Saab and Zahur Saab? Zahur Saab, you can go first. Broader question is around IT infrastructure. Is situation में भी और generally भी IT infrastructure की terms में Pakistan में what can we do? And then specifically around this cost of corporate data on the corporate level. So Zahur Saab, if you can go first, and then sorry, Salim Saab, please go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, my view is it's changed now. We will not need infrastructure anymore. We will not need space anymore. जो हम पास की बात करते थे वो करने की, they are not obsolete now. So it's amazing how it's changed. So building a new company will be very cost effective now. In a very low cost, you can set up home offices now. That's one. But surely we have to look at our spectrum. We have to look at the cost of rent. That is key here. That's all you need now. You work from home. You need good bandwidth, good broadband abilities. You do your work. On my side, I believe your very public cost infrastructure की वो तो change हो जाएगी एकदम. That is going to I will have enough funds available to do other things. I think that's a big change for companies. So I think infrastructure-wise, I think we have less needs now. But surely, broadband and other areas, we need to look at bring the cost down and bring a better quality. I think we have to force the companies to to keep the quality at up. Still, we see these companies not giving us the best quality. With that, Mujeeb, I have to leave. I have other meetings started. So thank you very much, guys. Thanks a lot for having me.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Salim Saab.
Zohair
Please,
Saab,
Zohair
if you
Saab.
want to take a crack at it,
Again, coming back
very
to this
quickly,
issue
just
of
the IT.
expensive data. Now, expensive data is driven by the fact that the government charges a huge amount on spectrum in the first place.
Yeah.
So the company, after having paid $300-400 million in terms of spectrum, then has to recoup all of that in some way to make itself profitable and sustainable. So I think one of the things that, as I said earlier, is for government to realize that this today is not a money generating scheme. We realized that way back in the early 2000s. In fact, somebody mentioned the 2002 crash. The 2002 crash came because at that time 3G licenses were awarded across Europe for massive billions of dollars of money, and everything crashed because there was just no business case behind it. That companies could not launch in time. The banks who had lent that money to them then crashed as well. And that's what led to the 2002 dot-com crash, as it's called. I was part of it. I was out of a job for a year. So I remember it extremely well. So what we need to be able to do today is to bring down data rates. The only way to do that is to make spectrum that much more available at a much more reasonable cost, recognizing that it is a human right for connectivity. And as I said earlier, that should be the way for the future. There are other ways to earn money, maybe, and we are also, by the way, one of the highest taxed airtime rates in the world. When a person scratches a 100-rupee card, 35 rupees goes straight to government treasury, which is astronomical by any standards across the world. So while we have very low airtime rates, we have very low data rates, we have very high taxes on top of that. So that
Haroon, can you hear Zohair Saab? I can't.
No, I couldn't hear anybody actually. Something went down.
Yeah,
So,
I think
but I'm back.
too many people using Zoom, maybe. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what. Zohair Saab, you're back now. We can see you and we can hear you as well.
Okay, great. So I was going to say that this whole discussion around data and data costs is generated most likely by high spectrum rates. Okay, so can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yes, we can hear.
I think it's imperative that the government realizes that data rates have to come down, and that the only way they will come down is if you have less taxation and lower spectrum cost allocation for mobile companies for the future, as other companies. One of the other big issues that is facing all connectivity is this issue around right of way. So when one of the internet companies which supplies you internet to the home is going out and laying cable, there is a huge cost of paying the right of way, normally to a government entity somewhere or the railways or somebody else. And two is the lack of immediate availability of permissions to deploy that internet. And so those things are also very critical to easing the cost and the connectivity to the end customer. And I think all those issues are on the table. They are very much part of the discussion with the PM's task force on IT and telecom, with the government, with the Ministry of IT and Telecom. And one hopes that over a period of time, especially given the last couple of months of experience, that we end up recognizing that that is one of the major sources of easing life as we go into this very uncertain COVID-19, God forbid, COVID-20 kind of phenomena that we are facing.
Well, let's hope that this remains under check and we don't end up with a COVID-20. Life is going to get even much more complicated, I think. On a lighter note, I have a question, Zohair Saab. Do we have an IT minister as of now, or?
To my knowledge, not at this stage.
Okay. So, Mujeeb, कैसे चलना है आगे? Should we say thank you?
I think we should wrap up. We're over time, if I see as well. We should thank Zuhair Saab for taking out time. I know you had other commitments as well. But thank you very much, sir, for taking the time and joining us and sharing your experience and your thoughts with us. Your perspective was immensely enlightening and helpful. So thank you very much from my end.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Gee, Mujeeb. So I think very good discussions we've had.
Yeah.
You know, last time as well, and this time I think very insightful comments by Zuhair Saab and Salim Saab, both of them. I think what is important now is how do we act on the recommendations and the opportunities that have been identified.
Yeah.
And इसमें किसी एक शख्स की एक डिपार्टमेंट की जिम्मेदारी नहीं आती है. I think इसमें जो different groups हैं within the industry itself. For example, startup community को जो बहुत बड़ा lead कर रहे हैं वो आपके NICs. So I think there is a responsibility on those NICs to now foster an environment where the direction of the entrepreneurs is towards addressing those opportunities. So that is from an entrepreneurial and startup perspective. From the industry perspective, जहाँ पे पाशा आ जाती है या आपके दूसरे ट्रेड बॉडीज आ जाती हैं, उनकी मेरा ख्याल है जिम्मेदारी है to start lobbying with the government to create that environment where these opportunities can actually be there is a legislative environment where encashing these opportunities becomes easy.
Yeah.
और तीसरा मेरा ख्याल है companies जो already established हैं as large enterprises in Pakistan, they need to adapt to the change. They need to quickly jump onto that digital journey and be able to encash and translate these opportunities into meaningful actions. So that we collectively as startups, as trade bodies, and as large-scale enterprises work together in achieving the next level of innovation that this country is basically looking for. और मेरा ख्याल है एक बात जो सलीम साहब ने भी और ज़ुहैर साहब ने भी की वो थी there are opportunities out there, China, West, जो impact आ रहा है, Pakistan is there and should be there to encash it.
100% agreed. Yeah, I think again as we've discussed over the course of these two sessions, the opportunity is there. I think the way you summarize as far as from an industry perspective, how we can segmentize it and approach it, spot on, completely agreed. Some of the work is already being done. I think Zuhair Saab also alluded, कुछ IT task force से काम हो रहा है, कुछ और segments जिनका influence जिन quarters में है, उनके through अगर हम उसको lobby कर सकें और अपना ये strategic points 2-3 ही है. Number 1 ये है कि जी आपने infrastructure provide करना है. I also agree कि real estate वाला element थोड़ा सा पीछे चला जाएगा. लेकिन to Zuhair Saab, as he said, bandwidth का taxation, ease of doing business, ये सब चीजें अगर हम उसको sort out कर लें, तो infrastructure in terms of digital infrastructure आपका अच्छे तरीके से setup हो सकता है. आपका Make in Pakistan जो initiative है, वो मेरे ख्याल में it's absolutely critical. Not a single economy. You pick India, you pick Malaysia, you pick Eastern European economies that are developing and coming up in terms of technology. Lithuania is a name, Poland is a name. In सब ने बहुत strong domestic growth की back पे अपना international portfolio enhance किया. तो वो इसलिए बहुत strategic element है. Again, I want to be cognizant of time. I know we're over. So I think overall over these two sessions, I think what we tried to do, Haroon, as you very rightly said, we tried to identify के problem क्यों हुआ, और दूसरा we tried to also talk about कि उस problem को आप कैसे address कर सकते हैं. I hope people who attended got some practical tips out of it, some very specific tips, because हमने कोशिश ये की कि हम ज़्यादा बात बड़े examples के साथ, personal experiences के साथ करें, बजाय इसके कि हम आपको पावर पॉइंट स्लाइड्स दिखाएं, हम आपको थ्योरियां समझाएं कि जी आप ऐसे भी कर सकते हैं, आप ऐसे भी कर सकते हैं. So I hope that people got that. And then today with our experts, I hope everybody got a view both from from Zuhair and Zuhair Saab and Salim Saab spoke about some, I think, very, very pertinent things that have far-reaching impact. And again, जब आप उनको सुनते हैं तो they're simple to do, at least the things that you can do yourself. Government reducing taxation might not be simple to do at all, but I think when you talk about using this time to reskill yourself, using this time to learn and adapt yourself to how the times around you are changing, those things are very, very applicable to every individual. So I think our attempt has been to identify issues, identify opportunities, and then also share some really practical, specific reasons with you that I hope everybody can relate to. So with that, Haroon, any concluding remarks before we sign off? Or Ali, if you want to say anything?
It was nice having you around and having this chit chat, and really nice having Zuhair Saab and Salim Saab and their insights. I think it's a wonderful conversation, and I think we should thank Ali and his team and his company for providing this platform so that we could all talk about it and share our views and share our thoughts.
No, I think I'm very excited. Even the last video which we just had, like for an hour, I watched it 2-3 times, and I was even talking to my wife, my kids. I say like, look, this is an opportunity, because even today, see the amazing people like you, Mujeeb, Haroon, Zuhair Saab, and Salim. So you guys like talking together. ऐसा लग रहा था जैसे वो drawing room में, like it's a drawing room conversation. जैसे भी मुझे भी बता रहे हैं कि there's no PowerPoint slide, उसमें गप भी लग रही है, and like ऐसा लग रहा है कि आप ड्राइंग रूम में बैठे हुए हैं, and people are just like listening and being part of it, अपने comments दे रहे हैं, chats दे रहे हैं. So this is, to me, is like really mesmerizing. I think the narrative is bigger than us. Narrative is more about countrymen, and a lot of people are, I think people must be very excited about it, and I am still continuously getting messages on my WhatsApp like, wow, so this is different. So very kind of you, very happy. Thanks from my heart and from all of my team members, on behalf of team members, to Zuhair Saab, Salim Saab, like you see, like a very passionate and very strong with his perspective. Zuhair Saab, from the other side, he has given his perspective. आपकी तरफ से जो ग्लोबल अलाइनमेंट आ रही है, जो मुजीब की तरफ से S&P ग्लोबल की केस स्टडी के साथ है, I think that is a treat in Ramzan. I would say like it's a virtual iftari to all the participants. आप लोगों की तरफ से. So very happy. Thank you so much from AIM Consulting, and on behalf of all the participants, I think especially Mujeeb Saab and Haroon Saab, very kind of you. Jazakallah sir. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Ji. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
And thank you all the participants. Allah Hafiz, and inshallah we'll share the recording, Ji.